Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.
Welcome to Beyond the Badge, a program about the inner workings of the Edina Police Department. Thanks for joining us. I'm Officer Brian Hubbard. The damage left in the wake of Hurricane Sandy warranted the need for a national medical response as additional support for local and state resources was stretched thin in the New York City area. 3 members of Edina's public safety teams answered the call of duty. On October 29th, 2 Edina firefighters and 1 Edina police officer landed at JFK Airport via a military aircraft as commercial runways were inoperable due to flooding. The 3 spent 2 weeks at the Queens College Shelter. Fire Marshal Jeff Seams and paramedic Ryan Quinn addressed the chronic and acute care needs of 550 displaced people. Officer Eric Carlson served as security specialist, providing physical security for the team and acting as liaison to local and federal law enforcement.
So we housed some people with constant nursing needs and some people who had long-term chronic medical problems, leaving all of their medicine in their doctors and their appointments and everyday life stuff that needs to happen, they don't have access to anymore. So we become that way to kind of keep them going until they find the next step.
Carlson, Seams, and Quinn are all members of MN1 DMAT, the Minnesota Disaster Medical Assistance Team. DMAT is part of the National Disaster Medical System to assist state and local authorities during natural disasters and other catastrophic events. The teams are made up of volunteer professional and paraprofessional medical personnel, such as doctors, nurses, and other emergency first responders.
The reason why I joined the Minnesota 1 Disaster Medical Assistance Team is because I always felt a need or a yearning to be able to give back to my country. I had never served in any of the armed forces, and I felt that this was a great way that I could give back to my community and my country.
There are 30 DMAT teams throughout the country, all of whom train regularly in preparation for being called to action. Sometimes an officer's ability to track a suspect, identify a crime in progress, or even locate a distressed citizen in need of help is limited simply by poor lighting conditions. Fortunately, in these circumstances, officers can fall back on the image-intensifying technology of night vision and the energy detection abilities of thermal imaging. Let's go to Officers Aaron White and Kevin Rothedal, who will explain how these law enforcement tools work and how they might be applied in the field.
Thanks, Brian. I'm at the police department today, and I'm once again joined by Officer Kevin Rothedal, our training officer at the police department. Kevin, thanks for being back on the show.
You're welcome.
We've also bringing back the Bearcat. The Bearcat's been featured in a previous show. Kind of a cool piece of equipment people always gravitate towards when we have it at events and whatnot. I guess we'll integrate that into our conversation a little bit. But you are wrapping up your term here as training officer beginning in January. You are being promoted to sergeant. Congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
And I guess the big news for you is going straight to night shift. How do you feel about that?
Going back to nights. I spent 14 years on nights, so I'm just going back to where I was.
So that's the perfect way to lead into our topic today, which is all about seeing in the dark. We want to learn a little bit about equipment we're using at the police department to kind of defeat darkness and some tools to do that. So let's start with night vision. Can you tell us what is night vision? Show us some of the equipment.
Yeah, I've got a unit right here. Night vision is an image intensifier. It takes some of the ambient light in the air, whether it be street lights, lights from houses, starlight, and it intensifies that light so that it's easier for us to see. So what we see during the daytime is what we see at nighttime. And this right here is a unit, this model is called a PVS-14. It's a monocular, so we see with one eye when it's mounted on the helmet. This particular unit's made by a company called ITT Industries. And what we would see during the day is what we'd see at night. So if, for instance, we're looking for a suspect, and that suspect were, for say, hiding in a bush or a big clump of vegetation, if we couldn't see that person during the day, we can't see them at night with the night vision.
Okay. So no X-ray vision, nothing special going on here. You're basically just enhancing your own ability to see.
Correct.
Switching to another piece of gear, you also have something called a thermal imaging camera. Can you show us that and tell us kind of what the difference is with that piece of gear?
This thermal imager is a handheld thermal imager. This particular one's made by a company called Raytheon. It's called the Thermal Eye. And this handheld imager instead of intensifying the image like the night vision, this one senses or detects energy. And most of the time it's heat, and so most people think it's a heat sensor, but it actually detects energy. And so when a person is running or hiding or conceal themselves in a car, this would be able to see into that vegetation. That the night vision would fall short. But then the other limitations is you can't see through glass. You can't see through windows with this where you could with a night vision. So they both have their applications. So if we had a dozen officers out looking for somebody, everybody would have a night vision, and one person on the team would carry this.
Sure.
And would lead the team, and so you use them together. And they just don't make anything right now that has it all built into one.
Very good, and we promised to involve the Bearcat in our conversation again. This, among its equipment, has a fixed system of sorts. Tell us about that.
Correct. Up on the top of the roof, there is an imager device mounted there with a screen mounted inside here, so the navigator inside the vehicle can operate similar to something like this. And where, in addition to looking for somebody and trying to pinpoint them, we can also clear vast areas. Sure. Where it would take anywhere from a dozen to 50 officers to clear a wooded area or a big field. We could take the imager and for the most part be able to clear that area and say nobody's in that area, let's move to different areas. Mm-hmm. Where this might not pick up, and then we can concentrate
Sure.
on those areas.
Well, some tools to see in the dark, obviously an important thing for us as police officers. Kevin, thanks for your time today. Appreciate the explanation.
Welcome.
Officer Kevin Raffadal, soon to be Sergeant Raffadal here at the Edina Police Department, and we'll return to Brian in the studio.
Thank you, Aaron. Typically, the job of a police officer is to enforce the laws, not transgress them. But last month, some members of the Edina Police Department saw fit to break the rules by suspending their facial hair restrictions and adopting a more rugged appearance. Edina 16's Nathalie Gage has more.
Our policy prohibits anything going beyond the corners of the lips with a mustache for men.
Recently, the city of Edina might have noticed a more hirsute police force working its streets.
I think professionally people might be nervous to ask me if that's regular or normal or what's going on with the facial hair.
Traditionally, the mustache is a symbol of masculinity, but during the month of November, the mo isn't just about machismo.
Movember is something that's spreading worldwide that's to bring awareness to men's health issues such as testicular cancer and prostate cancer and other men's health issues. What we do is we grow hair on our face is to kind of be walking billboards.
It's important to me because I do know some people that have had this or some of these men's health issues and some people around here and their families, so it's good to get the word out there.
And the Edina Police Department does have a vested interest in promoting men's health awareness because earlier this year, Edina lost one of its own when Steve Stroh lost his battle with multiple myeloma.
Once Steve passed away, we had felt so helpless as Steve went through this battle. And this allows us an avenue not to feel helpless any longer. We can do something that will bring early awareness or at least encourage people to get to see their healthcare professional.
The health concerns of a male colleague or loved one is an issue that crosses gender lines. And as such, Movember participation is high among both the sexes.
Men's health does matter to me because I have so many men in my life. Men don't traditionally talk about their health or talk about these issues, so I think it's great to get the awareness of men's health issues out there.
And although the demands of Movember might seem to favor the men, one can never be too sure.
I think I might just take like an eyebrow pencil or something and do something like that.
I'm actually just trying to get some facial hair, being a little follically challenged in that area.
I'm Nathalie Gage, Edina 16.
Movember has become a worldwide movement since its inception in Australia. It has since raised more than $300 million and has had 1.9 million participants. On behalf of my co-host, Officer Aaron White, and the rest of the officers of the Edina Police Department, thanks for tuning in to learn a little bit more of what goes on beyond the badge. Until next time, stay safe.
Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund.